Hi, you guys. We're back for another year, 2021, IOPPS.ca, sharing Indigenous success. Welcome to my new, not the new show, the old show with new year, I guess. We're going to get right to it today. I have two awesome guests. I have a co-host this show, and you guys might have seen her if you're on my own profile, Haley Rose. So I'm going to introduce her right now. Hello, Haley.
Hello, everyone. My
Go ahead.
name is Haley Rose. I'm 17 years old. I'm from North Alfred, Saskatchewan, sitting on Treaty 6 territory. I am your co-host today, and we have an
Possibly the future.
awesome and amazing guest with us today.
Well, you want to introduce?
You can do the honor.
All right. So yes, we do have an awesome guest today. She is the lone, I think, Indigenous realtor in Saskatoon, but we're going to let her tell her story here. So we're going to introduce Tanya LaRose. We'll get right to the show, you guys. Welcome, Tanya.
Hi, guys. How's everybody doing?
Good. Welcome to IOPPS.ca, sharing Indigenous success. And I'm pumped to have my co-host here, Haley Rose, with us. And Tanya.
Can I just say, Haley, I didn't know you're 17. That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm 17 years old.
Very motivated and, business oriented at that age.
Thank you so much.
You should see what she's accomplished at her age already. It's unreal.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to you a little bit.
Hey, we're not talking about me. We're talking about Tanya here.
Hey, Tanya is the star of the show, this one, but hey, you're just almost a star just because you're a co-host and getting your feet wet in this new era because you did try the podcasting. But yeah, we are going to welcome Tanya LaRose. So Tanya, welcome, and thank you for being my first guest of 2021.
Yay! Thanks for having me. And just to clarify, I'm not the only Indigenous realtor in Saskatoon, but I'm the only female Indigenous realtor.
Oh, okay, I read that wrong.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So let's get right into it. How did this all come about? And you guys, I hope we have time. I know Tanya's going to be in a rush here, but we're going to try to squeeze a few questions in here if you are interested in realty. Or I guess I wouldn't even know. How do you say that?
Real estate? Like the real estate industry?
Yeah, you're interested in that.
So. Maybe, Tanya, if you could explain a little bit about yourself and then explain how it all happened and what motivated you to be a real estate agent and how it all happened.
Yeah, I wish I had, an incredible story to share with you guys. I mean, I'll try and put a nice twist on it, but I would say almost a decade ago, I was married. I had a family. Started to get kind of restless and looking for a change. And I ended up having a friend who was in real estate, and she sort of inspired me to look into the industry, which I did. My dad was a carpenter, and my husband at the time, he was in construction for years on end. So I was always in some capacity surrounded by real estate. So when I looked into it, I mean, I sort of just dove in with 2 feet and I didn't look back. It wasn't easy. I had a lot of challenges, especially that first year, but it'll be 7 years in the spring. So I'm pretty happy about that. I'll be celebrating the full decade when that time comes around, but yeah.
So, taking it back, you're from Sweetgrass First Nation?
Correct. Yeah.
Did you grow up on the res, or were you an urban child? Or
I did grow up on the res.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Sweetgrass blood, and tell us about growing up on the res. Like, did you? Like, I know you're just saying you didn't see yourself doing it, but I mean, what did you see yourself doing while you were growing up on the res?
Well, that's the thing. It's I know both worlds very well at this point, life on the res and life where there's seemingly endless potential with wealth and growth in real estate. And coming from the res, let's call it a spade. There's not a lot of opportunity. Housing's housing's not good, you know, where the First Nation people of Canada and Saskatchewan, there's a housing crisis, you know. But for myself growing up on the res, that little Tanya had the dream of being a stay-at-home mom. and that's why when I was actually a stay-at-home mom, I wasn't fulfilled for various reasons, but you know, I think if you put in the work and you have a vision for your life, you can really just create whatever you want, however you want it. But it does take that commitment, you know.
Yeah, there's not too much motivation on the reserve sometimes when you're trying to look for, and everyone's situation is different. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, you sit in the rest sometimes and you're looking for that motivation. Sometimes it is your parents and you're already off to an awesome start. Sometimes people are unlucky and, you know, or a different circumstance. But yeah, you just got to find that spark. I want to go lay this road. Yeah. But you know what I mean? You got to find that thing that sets you off. So
How did you stay like driven or like motivated to like want to do it? Like how did you stay so that you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this and not like get off track?
Oh, that's such a good question. And without getting in too much detail, because, you know, a lot of your motivation for anybody and everybody comes from things that have happened to you deep down inside, you know, and the deeper down inside it is, the stronger it is. Yeah. So for me, it had a little bit to do with, you know, my past, and I had a sister who was murdered. So there's a lot of angst there. And then my marriage wasn't going very well at the time. So long story short, my motivation that was from the beginning and is still, you know, just as strong today is my son.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have a son.
Sure do. He's 9 years old.
Well, kids are a blessing.
Yeah, I totally feel that, man. My daughter just turned 12 on December 20th, and you're when they're born, man, your life you think at the beginning I didn't want kids, and then when she came to my life, your life just everything just focus changes and everything. And I get you, Tanya. I know your focus changes for the better. Like you're just like, hey, man, this kid's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna raise this kid to be awesome, and all that stuff. So,
of course, I always say you don't really know love until you have a kid.
Right? Like 100%.
A life changer.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're sitting on reserve and sitting on reserve. I also want to go back to the reserve. I love it when people get off the res, and it's not to say the reserve is the bad life. It's like, you know, like there's a lot of opportunity are on reserve if you can create them, and you know, obviously your focus was, you know, going to be doing something else, and you're creating this empire, I say, you know, within the real estate, and you know, exciting to watch. So tell us about the lifestyle, I guess, of a realtor. Yeah, I always want to say real estate realtor. Like
Realtor.
Yeah, I watch a show called what's that guy's name on YouTube? He was on like the $1 Million Listing New York. I don't know if you know what
I have no idea.
You know, to be honest, I'm probably one of the few agents who don't watch that $1 Million stuff.
Really? So anyway, Ryan Seacrest. No, Ryan Sherhart is his name. Sherhart.
I think so. Yeah.
Is it really true? Like when you're going into a house and you're showing it off to sell it, is it all about the pizzazz? And because he showcases and he puts all his money into it and he does all this crazy ads. Is that kind of something that you guys do too?
Oh, for sure. And just to clarify a few things with the real estate business and realtors in general, that a lot of people have the misconception of is all realtors are self-employed. So we're all either a sole proprietor or we're a corporation. And therefore, we all run our businesses differently. So that's why a lot of people, when they're looking for a realtor, they do interviews or they look at reviews, testimonials, etc. So that's something to be, aware of if you end up, having to work with one.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically it's similar to what you see on TV, but not so much because let's face it, we're in Saskatchewan and they're, New York and Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So a lot of the same techniques are applied. Me personally, I subscribe to ongoing education, and I sort of pride myself in doing like the top-notch, up and coming marketing, I guess, techniques, whereas different realtors may not. For example, the average realtor is a 57-year-old white male. So, and that's a fact. I'm not just like whipping this out of anywhere. That's a fact. So, I mean, I foresee that will change because the industry is changing and how real estate is done is changing. Thank God,
What do you mean? Like, how is that when you say like the 57-year-old white guy, like they're kind of just becoming not there anymore? It's going to be a lot of women in there and a lot of.
I sure hope so, because the females are severely underrepresented, and as our, a younger demographic. Like, I'm far from 57, but.
So how is it looking now that we're, in a pandemic? Like, how are your days looking? Like, what are you doing differently because of the pandemic? Like, I imagine, like, is there still a lot of people looking for houses, or is there like fewer, like mask wise? Like, is it harder to like project your voice, and like how are you working like between that and making sure that it's safe and stuff?
Well, real estate agents, realtors are essential workers. So we've been working all year long. The break we took was similar to a lot of the other industries from March to around May. It was absolutely silent, as was the entire world, right? But funny thing about the pandemic, it completely flipped the Saskatoon real estate market, on its back, but in a good way.
Well, I was going to say,
in a good way,
because you'd think the world was going to shit, and all of a sudden that you hear the housing is going up, and everyone that's asking questions, we are going to get to your questions. We just want to kind of get a little into Tanya's story, and then we're going to have question time for you guys because there's already people trying to ask questions about the industry. But my buddy, because I was interested in buying a house in Saskatoon and have my cousin and them rent it out, right? And I was thinking, okay, the pandemic's on, and all of a sudden I hear is like, don't do it because all of a sudden everything is going through the roof.
Like in what regard? Like the prices?
Like, the prices are going right up. Like the price of lumber right now is just insane high. Like
but that's because you have a ton of people doing construction too. Like if they can't move, they're doing renovations, because the reason why it sort of blew up was two reasons. Obviously, the Bank of Canada permitted an ultra low mortgage rate, to make sure Canada didn't go in the pooper. But also, funnily enough, and for lack of a better term, everybody was hit with severe cabin fever. So if you couldn't renovate your house, they're moving. And this isn't even, I'm not even, in any sense of the word, understating this. 2020 was the second busiest year in real estate in the history of Saskatchewan MLS for Saskatoon residential real estate. I should specify because there's a spectrum.
What would have been the first?
I can't. I looked at those numbers a few weeks ago, and I don't recall. I work with a lot of numbers on a daily basis.
Yeah, I bet. That's nice to hear that, because I mean, obviously everyone knows the whole world shut down and just things went to hell, man. But I mean, and because I know, hey, I don't know if Haley paid attention about this, but I was paying attention because you're watching the news, and everyone's just saying, man, like stocks are down, everything's down, Then all of a sudden people started talking about real estate and how that was growing.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Is it because people were foreclosing and stuff, or is it just because, like you were saying, people couldn't renovate and said, "The hell with it, let's just move"?
Basically, yeah. The foreclosures haven't jumped substantially. Actually, for the past 6-7 years, it's been a hard buyer's market.
Mm-hmm.
And right throughout that entire period, there's a decent number of foreclosures happening, but that wasn't a notable change in 2020 by any means. And even just to bounce back to what you had said, and when you were thinking of doing your purchase and you had people tell you, don't do it.
Don't do it. Well, this guy, he's
Do
totally
it.
buying a house.
Yeah. Well, I always want to just stress, please talk to a professional, a trusted professional to boot, because it's like asking a divorced person for relationship advice.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's like you talk to the people who are where you want to be, or the expert in the field. You don't talk about Joe Blow, on where to invest your money.
You don't ask Facebook.
Yeah, no, we don't. Where everybody's an expert.
Yeah, Facebook, give me advice. At least send me links, Facebook, right?
Yeah. All the facts.
Right? All the facts.
So I imagine you're really busy, hey? Because if all the numbers are going up and the better sales, you're probably very, very busy than you've ever been, hey?
Yeah. Like I was mentioning to Nathan earlier that in the past 2 months, I've sold a house a week. So I am very tired, very stressed out, but I'm still working.
Yeah.
It's manageable. And I mean, it's expected too. For anybody who's interested in getting into the industry, which I completely support. And if you have questions, feel free to message me directly.
I want to get into that. I want to get into the whole game, but go ahead with your story.
Oh, yeah. Because I get a ton of questions on that too. And I always want to be as realistic as possible, but encouraging as possible, right? Because it is attainable. There's just things you have to be cognizant about before you jump in. Because a lot of the time I find, because we want Indigenous representation in all fields, right? And not even just little sprinkles. We want the appropriate ratio. Which is
as it should be.
Right, exactly.
Hold on, get one of these.
I think you're deadly. And I like watching you be deadly.
Yeah, man.
Oh my God.
But that's so true. You're so right. It's like, just it would be so nice to just have a selection of Indigenous realtors and at your picking, and you'd be like, okay, I want this one, or this one speaks Dene, this one speaks Cree, or whatever, right? It would just be nice to have a selection,
Exactly.
It's like bringing diversity into more industries.
Exactly.
Which is very much needed. We need to see our people be the face of whatever.
And everywhere, and in order for that to happen and for that to continue to grow, honestly, we need to support those few indigenous professionals in each industry. A lot of the time I find people, they either don't do their homework, or they don't really find it of importance. But the thing is that it is important and it is impactful, because when we see these professionals in these industries, you can bet your butt that they fought tooth and nail to get where they are. For example, there's a young Indigenous man who got on a police force here. I don't know how much I can really get into detail. Some people may know, but he did all the work, and I'm sure many of you know it's very difficult to get into the police force. But from what I gather, he's no longer in it, And because, again, lack of support, whether it's moral support, whether it's, supporting them by being a customer to their business, because what are the youth going to see when they see all of these people entering these different industries and they just drop out because of lack of support? No, we want the youth to see are people getting into these positions, and are people thriving because the Indigenous people as a whole are unifying and building people up? For example, in the real estate industry, the Chinese people are extraordinary with supporting their own. And when you look at the Chinese people as a whole, they're very wealthy. And I'm not trying to like push the idea of capitalism. It's just...
Well, what you're doing is awesome. You're already inspiring so many youth out there who are willing or getting out there, going to school and stuff, trying to figure themselves out. Like, you're already inspiring so many youth because you're the face of how many houses, like, you know, like you're already inspiring so many youth by what you're doing and being a positive role model and being successful, especially, you know, coming out of the reserve, Sweetgrass. Like, you're so close to home for a lot of us, and for you to be able to get out of an isolated area, and it really shows other youth living in the reserve that they can do it too, and that wherever they may want to go in the future, like, you're able to do it if you really try hard and you push yourself through it.
Absolutely.
See, it's weird that she's 17, right? Like, she sounds like she's like 25 or
Just like the maturity level of like
right?
a 50-year-old woman.
When I was 17, I'd be like, real estate. Okay.
No doubt.
Yes. Do you know this guy? Anyway.
Exactly. But she's a testament to like the type of brain that is happening with the Indigenous youth, right?
Yeah.
Which is amazing and super exciting.
Yeah. Awesome. Shit, I lost my train of thought here. I want to get into, because Haley, we were talking about before the show started, how you become a real estate person.
See, I thought you went to university for how many years? And
No.
Eric and Mike, we are going to get you guys' questions. And if anyone else is watching, have any more questions for Tanya, ask away, and we will get you guys in the comments. But right from the beginning, how do you become one? How do you become where you are? How do we become?
Yeah. So no, we don't have to do post-secondary. Well, university, you can, and any additional education you have will obviously benefit you going forward and running your business, because I mean, technically you're the CEO of a corporation if you do stick with it long enough. But to dive in, I guess, you do, the Saskatchewan Real Estate Association has, obviously they're the board, and you can call in or you can Google it. It's very simple in this day and age, but it's a course. It's a couple of courses. You have to get, and the association changes the requirements every now and then. Sometimes you have to get your license in residential only, and then it's been a while since it was like that though. Right now, if you want to practice real estate at all, you have to get your residential real estate license, your commercial real estate license, and your farm real estate license, obviously, because we live in Saskatchewan, right? But in terms of monetary value, your investment to get your career started, it's, I haven't looked at the numbers very recently, but the last time I checked, I think it's around somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000. So
to get your license?
So way cheaper than going to university for how many years?
It is.
See, look at that. Looking so far ahead of that. I was just thinking 5,000 to 10,000.
Yeah.
But you're so right, man. Like, wow.
But quick little disclaimer there is a lot of people think that, I'm going to get my license and I'm going to start selling houses, making the big bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be my, that's how I would look at it. I'm ready to go. Let's dig in.
Well, I feel like you would find the business, but that's the thing. You get licensed and you yourself, nobody's responsible for getting you the work. You have to go get the work. You have to you have to build a business. You have to make that business attractive to people. You have to earn their trust. You have to, knock on doors over and over. In my entire career, I've been told no way more than I've been told yes. So when people see that, oh, hey, she's gotten quite a bit of yeses, that's only because I've gotten like an insane amount of no's. Right?
Yeah.
So it's a matter of perseverance.
Well,
go ahead.
That's how successful people win, right? They gotta fail and fail and fail before they succeed, and that's why a lot of people don't get to the where they're supposed to be, because they have all these people saying no and disclaiming them, and you know, like burning their self-esteem, and then that's when they quit, and then they don't make it to where they're supposed to be because all the no's, all the fails that they had, they decided to quit and give up when you pushed through and you went through with it, and here you are.
Exactly. And
that would go to exactly where we need mentorees, mentorships in, like, you know, the policing or even real estate, like saying, listen, you're just getting in here. 10,000 people are going to say no to you, but you're going to get that one. And when you get that one, you get another one. Another 5,000 might say no after that, but you're going to get another one and another. And see, that's what people don't realize when there's success behind anything. Like, let's use Tanya. Obviously, she's, you know, being successful. There's a lot of hustle and a lot of grind behind that success. There's not a Tanya went in and just did her thing and then boom, here we are, right? It's like no. Yes, no. Yes, you know what I mean? That's exactly how it is. And I guess that goes back to that story of who we know who was in the police force, and, you know, if he had that, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But back to the original question about, you know, preparations, the correct preparations for if you're thinking about a career in real estate is also the first year is notoriously difficult for everybody. I mean, myself included. Obviously, I speak with numerous realtors in the city. We all, you know, network and whatnot, and across the board. Unless their parents were like extremely wealthy or they had a business handed to them with a full database, it's very difficult. Like the first year, you really need another source of income, or you need somebody who's going to, I guess, facilitate your food in your belly and roof over your head.
Yeah.
I think failure is a wonderful teacher, because any successful person has failed way more times than they have succeeded. And I don't know, it's a wonderful teacher. Failure just makes you want to push harder.
Yes.
Can we get to some of these questions here, and then maybe we can get back?
Sure.
What we're on. So I got a question here from Leaching Mike Reed. Are you commercial real estate as well?
I am, yes. I am licensed. As mentioned prior, I'm licensed in commercial as well as farm. I specialize in residential, but I do take on commercial properties, and obviously special requests.
All right. Oh, let's go back to this one because it's kind of getting what we were saying. Who was your mentor from the real estate world?
It's usually, I was originally, that is a really good question.
Or were you going in by yourself? Like you were the one doing
Well, I think she mentioned she had a friend or something that.
I did have a friend, yeah. And she sort of got the hamster wheel turning, but she wasn't my mentor. My mentor ended up being my broker, which is pretty standard. So again,
What's a broker?
So a broker is, and this is another just foundational information tidbit when understanding the real estate industry, is when you get your license, you can't just run off and do your thing. You have to practice. You have to be associated with a brokerage. So a brokerage is, like my brokerage is Royal Page Varsity. I used to be with RE/MAX Saskatoon, but I made the decision to change, which, you know, is a possibility at any point in your career. But you cannot practice real estate unless you're associated with a brokerage. And again, brokerages like Century 21, Realty Executives. So, yeah, I mean, if you're practicing and you don't have one of those brokerages behind your, I guess your affiliation with them, you would get your license pulled. which is another very important point. We're governed by bylaws and regulations from the association on both a provincial and a national level.
Yeah.
And there's huge fines and penalties if you don't abide by those. So it's a very regulated industry to be aware of. And I mean, that's another thing for anybody, you know, thinking about getting into the industry.
All right, a couple more here. Is it possible to start flipping houses or wholesaling real estate without a? Oh, I guess I just answered without a license. Oh, that is a good question.
Well, is it possible to be flipping houses and wholesaling? Like, I'm not sure what they mean by wholesaling.
Well, I
like
think with this
reselling
guy,
it?
yeah, if I had, I'm thinking buy 3-4 houses and then flip them. Is that what you mean, Kirk? If you're still there, but yeah, I think that's what he means.
Flipping houses, isn't that like when you like renovate it and then you like flip the price?
Okay, well, yeah, no, that is.
I don't know. When I see that, that's what I think of.
Say I bought a house in Saskatoon and I just wanted to flip it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I highly recommend. It's so much fun, and it's very, like, speaking of creating wealth through real estate, I mean, endless possibility. If you could successfully flip a house, you could profit $100,000, you know. Of course, I want to maintain a level of realisticness. Typically, it's between 30 and 50 if you know, do the process as well. But I have seen $100,000 profit, so it's.
Kirk said is.
And they just get that in their pocket.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about real estate is that, you know, depending on your tax brackets, it's your capital gains tax-free. So you can invest that in some RSPs, tax shelter it and whatnot. But
cryptocurrency, Haley, like I was showing you. I made $2,000 today on crypto.
No way.
That's crazy. That's a whole other podcast.
He's going to come spoil me.
Yes, do it. Yeah, that was the podcast with Patrick Mitzwing.
Mitzwing, yeah. And
yeah, that's awesome.
So anyway, here's Kirk again. Is it possible for someone like myself to work with you from Vancouver who hasn't got any real estate experience but has been educating myself to get started? Absolutely.
I've worked with many people across Canada, both buyers and sellers, and in our day and age, obviously it's very possible, and again, in our age demographic, I mean, there's very few people these days with the amount of user-friendly multimedia that you can successfully do that. But yeah, no problemo, and everything that I've done so far with, you know, interprovincial clients, it always turns out really great.
There you go, Kirk. There you go.
Awesome.
Ryan, with rates being so low, would you recommend you try renegotiate your mortgage on year 4 of 5?
100%. Please call your mortgage broker like tomorrow morning. Everybody's doing that, really, and it'll save you thousands of dollars if you you know, if things go well for you. Which should be noted, if your mortgage is with your bank, I would recommend having a little chat with a mortgage broker, because mortgage brokers work with a myriad of lenders, whereas your bank, they'll offer you one rate, one set of terms, and a bank, of course, is working for the bank. They're not working for you. They want to work with you, but a mortgage broker will look at your scenario individually. They'll fine-tune and they'll wrap it up and sort of pitch it to all of the different lenders and see who gives you the best deal for your situation.
I'm learning some new things here.
Hey,
Good.
I'm going to take this.
Also, are there different rules if you decide to rent your property? That's what I want to know. If you buy a house and you want to sell it, you know, right away, I'll get into that one after. Let's answer this one.
Yeah. You know, there's so many different variables and scenarios that it's hard to answer some of these questions without having like a one-on-one. That's why, I mean, like I said, anybody and everybody, you are all welcome to contact me. I'll make time. We will work these all out. But, and I say that because real estate really is like quantum physics. in the fact where there's endless variable possibilities.
Mhm.
And I know that's a far stretch to compare the two, but hey, I did that. So, and the reason I say that it might not, it's difficult to answer this question in particular is because sometimes there's certain programs that if a person utilized it when they purchased their home, then no, they cannot just freely do whatever they want. You know, for example, a grant program, if they utilized a grant program to purchase their home, there may be certain stipulations in said contract that they sign that sometimes we forget in the excitement of purchasing our new home. And we go and do something that will cause a substantial penalty. And that's the thing, you know, like it's a very high stakes industry, and there's just no reason to go into it blind. If it was just a standard rental, like you purchased it absolutely on your own, you had no assistance, no subsidies, then no, there wouldn't be any restrictions. Although, if you're renting it out to purchase your next house, it would affect your purchase because instead of 5% down, you'd have to put down 20% down. But there is a way of bypassing that. And if that is your intent, please message me.
That's interesting to know. That's really interesting to know.
That's
I'm
pretty
learning. I'm just like Haley right now. I'm learning.
I'm taking this all in. I'm like,
Good. Absorb it like a sponge.
Yeah. I got another one here from Kirk. Say I got a house under a contract for $300K and the ARP, I don't know what that is $500K, and I signed the contract over to an investor for $480K. I have no idea. Do you know what that means?
for a profit for 20K.
Oh, for profit, yeah, for profit for $20K. Other part. Maybe that was something that we were talking about, I guess, at the beginning. I don't know. Get back, Kirk. Put that into one question. All that stuff you were just putting. Oh, look at that! You already got a client. I'll inbox you. Thank as I may. Hey, does IOPPS get a cut for this? Look at that. Giving you
Well talk, Nathan.
getting you. Oh, right here. Sorry for repair value. Sorry, after repair value.
Oh, that's what it stands for, ARV, after repair value.
Oh, okay. Put that into one thing, Kirk. One sentence in there, and then I'll post it up here for the thing. Going back, so you sit on a task board. Like, we're gonna get a little more questions, as I want to keep going into Tanya's story because Tanya does have a story. You know, obviously, you guys already know she grew up in Sweetgrass First Nations. She's a mother of one boy who's 9 years old. Who she's working in real estate. She's I just had a brain fart. You guys ever have those?
She's
good.
working.
I
I'm
literally
a working girl.
She's, where was I going with this? I was going somewhere with this, and then I just started. Wanuskewin, you're sitting on the board there. I seen a picture of you with, what's his name? The billionaire from Ballaford here.
Oh, Wayne Wilson? Or, yeah.
Brett Wilson, or whatever his name is.
Brett Wilson, yeah.
Yeah, so like, do you get to meet, because you are successful, do you get to meet a lot of celebrities, or like you finally met me? I'm a celebrity in my own world here. So like,
I was quite excited when I met you, Nathan.
Right? What other celebrities have you met?
You meet celebrities doing this?
I don't know. I think that might be a bit of a stretch. I don't know how that came about. No, actually, it's just the sheer amount of networking. So obviously, if you put yourself out there day after day, 365 days a year, times a year, over a span of many years, you're bound to, bump into a wide range of people. And that's exactly what happened with Brett and I. I met him a few years ago. We had a mutual friend, and I went to one of his grant entrepreneur contests he had in Saskatoon. And it was the last one he did. He retired that program, but him and I met there, and I guess we sort of connected because we're both, originally from North Battleford, and he's a really, really nice guy. And we also both have a huge passion for philanthropy and giving back and everything. And so we just sort of stayed friends.
Wait, Nathan, you never met Brelt Wilson?
Oh, sorry. No, I haven't. He hasn't met me yet.
I met him. I actually met him. I just remembered. Yes.
Where'd you meet him?
On your level.
He came to my school.
See, like, he really just gets in there, right? Like, he's not, he has like zero ego, and he's a great guy.
I didn't even think he's rich. I was walking to the bathroom, and he was wearing like some average, just like normal clothes, like doesn't look rich, like doesn't like, I don't know. And then out of nowhere, they're like, yeah, he's like a millionaire. Like, I was like, what?
Yeah, he's a billionaire. Yeah, he's rich.
A billionaire.
Yeah. Question here from Spring Spirit. Would you work with someone from a different city within the province?
Within Saskatchewan, yes. Again, I like to focus, within 100 kilometers of Saskatoon, but upon special request and depending on the project and the intent there, I do travel, because when you're licensed in Saskatchewan, you're licensed in all of Saskatchewan. Heck, if you want to, go work way up north or way down south, you can do that again, right? Because you're your own boss. But personally, I don't. I mean, that's not what I advertise, on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do the traveling for like if First Nations want like consulting for real estate, as well as buyers home buyers workshop. So I have traveled for those too.
So do you think like it would be smart for an 18-year-old to buy a house?
Oh my gosh. You have
16-year-old should buy a house even.
Right?
Is it worth it, or you think you should just wait?
Honestly, like, Haley, goodness, you're going to be huge by the time you're like 25. Like, you're thinking of home ownership when you're 18.
I could, but like if that's like the way to go, then I probably would. I would rather not pay rent and just put a down payment on. And
yeah, honey, in hindsight, if I would have purchased at 18 100%. So if you can, more power to you. Call me. We'll make it happen. If there's a will, there's a way.
Really? Hey?
Now, if there's any deals that were coming from this podcast, IOPPS, mark that. Whoever's a lawyer, send me a contract. So I'm going to put it on here.
That's
true. Entrepreneur.
Hey, since we're talking about 18-year-olds wanting to buy a house, is there a program out there for anybody that at that young age that wants to buy a house?
No.
No, is it? What about that first time buyers? Don't they only got to put $5,000 down or something, or is that just like things I'm hearing? Facebook.
Yeah. Oh, that darn Facebook. No. There are a few grant programs. They're not really. There was one for students, and that's probably what's resonating in your mind right now.
Yeah.
They pulled that 2 years ago, and they didn't even give us warning, which, I mean, really, they don't have to. It's the government of Canada. The
government didn't give you a warning.
Yeah, and it was like an amazing
who ever heard the government doing that?
How come you would recommend buying a house so young? Like, why is that? Why do you recommend it? Like, do you make more money, or do you profit from it, or save money?
Here's the thing, especially if you have like a little side hustle or a little home business, which we just met, Haley, but I'm sure you do. And I'd like to, find out everything you're doing, because it sounds so awesome. But so the thing is that there's lots of benefits to homeownership. And again, there's also lots of risks, but we're talking about the benefits right now. So basically that's the beautiful thing. And that's why I'm always advocating for Indigenous people to own real estate, is because it is the perfect way to build generational wealth. And And
Keyword
again,
generation wealth. Or keyword.
yes. Like when we see, other cultures who, their parents are buying them homes, or their parents are buying them a condo to go to university, or, something to that effect. That's from generational wealth. Obviously, we all know that, we don't really need to get into the meat and potatoes of the near genocide that happened to Indigenous people in Canada and why we are where we are. But if we start now, our kids and our future generations aren't going to have the same struggles we have, and they're not going to have the same housing crisis that we're currently, have. We see homelessness, and actually in the housing continuum model, homelessness. Housing continuing model, home ownership is the end goal. So it starts from homelessness, and there's 6 points to bring people out of that. And the ultimate goal is home ownership. Okay. So, again, there are situations that it's not necessary or not applicable or not the most appropriate at that time. But if you start owning your house at 18, you're going to be mortgage free by the time you're like 40. And 40 may sound old to you right now, Haley, but it's not.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Mortgage free by 40, but then
But who knows what
stay in the same house.
Who knows what would be happening in between there? You'd probably be selling and moving on up while you're in that house, renovating, all this stuff, right? Anything can happen. And then that's where, and these are, of course, I just watch these on YouTube, those shows that, they buy whatever, and then all of a sudden 2-3 years later, because houses always go up, right? The price is always going up. Majority of the time.
Yeah. And you got to be cognizant about the current market conditions, right? Yeah. Like I had referenced the buyer's market and the seller's market. So you want to sell in a seller's market and buy in a buyer's market. But for the most part, if there's key factors in identifying a good rental or a good flip property or a good investment property, like you were mentioning, Nathan. And if you do it correctly, you're damn right it's going up. And another thing that I really want to stress, there's lots of Indigenous men who are very handy. We got electricians, we got plumbers, all of the fun stuff. If these people are buying homes, you know how beautiful sweat equity they could be putting into their home and generating expedited wealth.
Yeah. You know what? I'm just thinking about that, and that's like a whole nother podcast to talk about exactly the huge benefits of real estate. I'm learning lots as I watch YouTube. Like YouTube's my new teacher when I want to learn something. But yeah, you're right. Like it creates generational wealth. There's so many opportunities within it if you hit it at the right time, right? It's kind of like Haley when I was showing you my cryptocurrency app, right? You got to buy in at the right time, and you got to sell at the right time.
Yeah, exactly. Real estate is like stocks. Yep.
That's awesome.
I want to get into the thing here. Milton Tatosis, Dance Milton. Keep up the good work, T. You are leading the way in this industry. As a middle class grows, more Indigenous people will be in a position to buy property in town. People, support Indigenous entrepreneurs and buy from Indigenous salespeople so we can all help grow the Indigenous economy. Hashtag Indigenomics. We are all in sales, Indian to Indian. Oh, I like that one. Indian to Indian.
I think that one needs a round of applause, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's just so beautifully said.
That was a good comment. No, what you're doing for us, though.
Good job, Milton.
Everything that you're doing is already inspiring so many other people. And he's right. A lot of Indigenous people who are looking to buying a house or have any questions, they should be going to our Indigenous entrepreneurs and our...
For sure. Absolutely.
Supporting one another.
Yeah. And I'm realistic too. I may not be everybody's cup of tea. I try to be. I will work my hardest to please all of my clients and successfully guide them through the process. But hey, if you need a male realtor or any other other option to stick with the cause of supporting Indigenous realtors. There's either one or two. There were two other male Indigenous realtors. One might not be practicing anymore. But, take that extra step. Honestly, I think it's everybody's responsibility to be more conscious with where we're putting our business, because we're very powerful people. It's just a matter of harnessing that power.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's awesome.
I want to get back to a couple questions because I know we're getting close to where you might have to go. Kirk here, he's just asking some questions here. Real quick. I don't know which one we want to ask. That one's a long one. I'll go with this one. So investors usually like to pay 60 to 7% off 500K ARV, which is, what does ARV stand for again?
After repair value.
Ooh, for purchase price, which would be 300K, 15% for rental, 15% for investors, realtor fees, holding costs, legal, and so forth. Leave 10% profit. Typically, from what I heard, wholesalers make anywhere from 5 to 20 per deal. Hope that makes sense to you, Tanya.
So what's the question there? Sorry, I can't.
I think
it's too small.
I think it was. Oh, is it? I think it was going back to what he was talking about when he was talking about. Oh, this one here. So say I got a housing under contract for 300K, and then the ARV is 500K, and I assign that contract over to an investor for 80K, for a profit of 20K. That's what he was putting together.
Yeah. I mean, I would consider it a win. You're still profiting. There's lots of people, especially in the past 5 years, who have taken a hard hit when they sell their properties because we were in such a deep buyer's market. But yeah, at this point, if you're making a profit, pat yourself on the back.
Any profit.
But yeah, if anything, and if I'm understanding his question properly, I would say maybe, I'm not sure who your investors are, but I would recommend shopping your product around a little bit more. Sometimes if you just keep feeding the same investor, they get lazy or they get cheap, and you just get complacent and you're not maximizing your profit.
Yes. Spoken like a true entrepreneur. Could you put 3% down for a property you're going to live in for 1 year to fix up and then resell in Canada?
No. Minimum across the board is 5%. So work on that extra 2% and I'll make it happen.
Yeah. Kate Morris. Kate Morris is actually a financial Indigenous, you guys, Indigenous financial advisor. Connect with her.
Yes.
And then you'll connect with Tanya. This is much needed info. I bought my own home years ago and have been mortgage free for 5 years.
Oh my gosh.
Looking for another home to buy as an investment and legacy to leave my children. See, that's explain
beautiful.
That one. That's
mortgage free.
Here, Kate, you get one of these.
I think you're deadly.
Yeah, you get one of them. Back to Kurt here. He's basically, I wouldn't be putting much, if anything, down, just getting it under contract to assign to someone else, investor. That 3%, I think he's talking about.
Right. Yeah, I would still recommend. And again, I'm not, because I can't really, the questions are too small, I can't really read them. But if I'm understanding correctly, I would still.
Can you squint like a real Indian when you're trying to read?
And I'll point to when I need you to put up the question.
Can you read that? Yeah.
Yeah, I would again, I mean, I'm a full believer in doing the work to do it yourself. I know sometimes and you're not capable, but whether it's credit or capital, sometimes being patient and with those growing pains to improve your credit or get enough capital to do it on your own may seem tedious, but it's going to be worth it because you're not going to have to share with anybody, right? So that's all I would recommend for him.
My credit is at 658, and it's been staying there for ever. Is that good enough to buy a house?
Or
is it like the bank?
Well, the thing is that I'm going to send you a contact information of one of the mortgage brokers I work with, because like I said, if you have a skilled professional on your side, some serious magic can happen.
Yes, he was a skilled professional. You just sold him his first house.
Who?
My cousin,
Oh,
Jared.
yeah.
I met you, and
Yeah.
I do electrical.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. So,
What?
what makes it easy for you to sell a house? Like, do you have to like really project your voice? Are you like going in there dolled up, looking all good? Like, is it the appearance? Like, what is it? Is it you talking and be like, ooh, like the way you explain things? Like, oh, just newly shackled. Like, how do you like
You
what
actually
do
go
you
like
find
this,
the
you go like
buyers
this.
like? Yeah. Like, what do you think the buyers? How do you sell? What do you do?
Well, yeah. You hit a couple of the points on the nose there, Haley. And not to toot my own horn, but I am quite good at selling a property.
You got to, like, you got to. You got to be. You're confident. It's basically
yeah.
Confidence.
I like the confidence rolling in.
Well, I mean, I've sold properties that other competition of mine have unsuccessfully been able to sell, and said other realtors have had decades of years in the business ahead of me. So stuff like that, yeah, I'm definitely proud of it, and it gives me full confidence in my capabilities. Probably has a little bit to do with that I'm a touch OCD, so I really obsess on details on a house, which is definitely needed. Like you said, appearance. Obviously, I don't wake up like this. I don't particularly, find joy in spending that extra time and effort in my appearance. But heck, anybody in sales and anybody in the professional world, I'm sorry, but there's no way anybody can convince me that your physical appearance will not benefit you if you put that extra time and effort. So
yeah.
Well,
you look more presentable. I mean, you got the look, so I bet you that's a winning already for some people.
Likewise.
So, are you going hard on social media? Are you getting creative on social media? Like, what's your, like? I know you got your page. Like, do you focus on that, or do you on Snapchat, TikTok?
I am on Snapchat, but that's more just personal. I'm on.
Okay, I'm talking about like when it comes to selling, like you use
professionally, absolutely, and I get a lot of business from social media. I've gotten a lot of compliments and respect from my peers in the industry because of what I provide. What I put out on the social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, which, by the way, I'm trying to grow my Instagram. So Saskatoon Realty, please follow it if you're on Instagram. But yeah, it's definitely a necessary tool. Where does everybody go when they're looking for a house? They go to the internet. You don't need to everything. We all know what is available on the internet. You can't do it all on the internet with no help, which is another thing. Sorry.
My daughter at 9 years old started scouring realtor websites to show.
Really?
I mean, it's. I mean, yeah, everyone goes and just scrolls on the internet for any property, right?
That is so cute. Oh my god.
Yeah. That was literally me looking at the biggest houses, wishing I could live there one day.
My daughter told me, because she watches on YouTube, and she watches on YouTube, she watches those realtor videos where those guys are showing off the 30, 40, $50 million house.
I always watch those too.
Yeah. She's like, Dad, I want you to buy that $45 million house. I'm like, yeah, my girl, like one day when crypto gets big.
Daddy's working on it.
Couple things here. Our man Milton again. I'm the first generation off-res homeowner in my family. Oh, Milton, you get one of these.
I think you're deadly.
Right on. We are not taught about real estate back home. No, we are not. We are taught about trying to survive off the res. Now we have educated my kids about the process, and glad to say I have a daughter and son who are the second generation property owners in our family. That's huge. Low risk investment will pay off and benefit. That is, man, big shout out
That
to you,
is
Mel.
a flex. That is a big
That is a
flex.
flex, man. Like,
Oh yeah.
big shout out to you, man. And that's exactly what Tanya was saying, like the generational wealth and, you know,
And you know what? Sorry to interject
oh,
here,
go ahead.
Nathan, but
Go ahead.
honestly, it's our inherent right. It's a part of reconciliation, you know,
Yeah.
because it's in the treaties. I mean, land is, for lack of the terminology, and I mean, when they signed the treaties, they didn't, you know, foresee the kind of world we were going to be in, but that is home ownership and housing and shelter, you know. So it's like, no, our people shouldn't be homeless. We should be at the top of the housing continuum model, and we should be thriving. It shouldn't be a matter like, I think we've done enough surviving. It's time we start thriving as a people.
Hey,
Right
hey,
on.
I
I
like
like
that.
that.
Not surviving, time to
That
thrive.
needed to come out.
That should be your like. That should be your line. Oh, there's Tanya. She's
New
not
slogan.
surviving, she's thriving. Are you good to go, or what you looking like here for time?
What time is it?
8 o'clock.
I can't-
8 o'clock.
Is it 8?
Yeah, it's 8 o'clock.
Just tell
Yeah.
them if you have an appointment. Just say sorry, Indian time, and it'll be in about half hour.
Oh my God. Well, I have an appointment at 8:30. So
Okay.
I
We
can
should
maybe go
cut
another
it.
10 minutes. Is
Yeah,
there
10
any more
minutes.
questions or you had or?
Yeah, I can go for another hour here, but we'll go back to Kirk here. I own a digital marketing agency, 100% Indigenous owned. Do you think there can be an opportunity for us to link and discuss helping each other out with our business?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, please reach out.
And I remind you guys again that IOPPS will be getting a cut of any money made.
He's like, I'm making a list. We will not miss
Nathan,
anybody.
you just made $2,000 today. So
Yeah. I'm so excited. I with this show, I love showing Indigenous people succeeding. Like Haley was on one of my podcasts. You know, I think I interviewed her when she was 16, and now she's co-hosting with me because I'm helping her. You know, pushing the podcast and podcast world, and also to have an Indigenous female succeeding like yourself. You know, I love showing that to everybody, and it's an honor to have you on this podcast, Tanya, and just telling us a little brief about your history and how you got to where you are and all that.
Well, I really appreciate the invite, Nathan. And really, I'm hoping I just provided enough like engaging content and informative content. You know, like most of the time when I talk about real estate with friends and whatnot, or in a lot of settings, actually, people's eyes just glaze over. So it's a very engaging topic if you that floats your boat, or if you have something to like a current project maybe going on. But I was happy to talk about it today.
you seem like a. Oh, sorry. Go, Nathan.
You go ahead, Haley, because we're doing this together. Go ahead.
I was going to say that you seem like a very powerful woman, and already you should be confident as you are. Like keep that up, because you're already inspiring so many other, young adults or youth, inspiring them to, achieve their goals and whatnot. And for you to do that, and you're only 33 years old, like you're not even old yet. And it's like, I don't know, you're not even old yet. And you should honestly, that is an achievement for you already, to be successful and, balanced as an Indigenous woman. That is incredible already. Like how you can come from one place and go to another. Like you really did that. You really honestly did that. And you're so open-minded, and you're already willing to help these people that are commenting, and you're willing to support them. And you seem very friendly, and it's just like, I'm pleased to meet you and be in your presence right now. Like it's actually an honor to be talking to you right now. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you for those kind words. Really, I work so much that I never really think of it, and I just try and be the best version of myself.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I just want to remind everybody that even when somebody does seem confident, like, you still have your bad days, and it's a matter of just making the choice to be confident, or making the choice to stick with your goals, making the choice, you know, to overlook whatever barrier you're facing, you know, like, because as much as Indigenous clients that I have come to me and have supported me, there's also Indigenous people who won't work with me because they have a friend in real estate. And you know what? I can't really do anything about that. It's a little frustrating, but
Yeah, no, for sure.
at the same time, it's still good regardless to see these people utilizing real estate in their day-to-day lives and retaining the funds that typically would go to, you know, the pockets of a non-Indigenous, you know, a property owner. Whereas, you know, I'm pretty sure we've given enough resource, like the Indigenous people as a community have given enough resources away. Well, given is a loose term, but to last a lifetime. So it is nice to, when I do get support from the Indigenous community, because I mean, at the end of the day, the Indigenous community is always, I'm always going to have a soft spot in my heart for them, because when I see the growth there, it means there'll be growth for the generation that my son is going into, you know?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, we're gonna end it there, Tanya. You got to do your thing. But what I usually do, Tanya, at the end of these shows, I give you the spotlight. You say a few words of inspiration or shout out, or if you want to shout out your business or whatever. I want to say thank you for coming on, and Haley, thank you for co-hosting. Actually, Haley, stay on because I wanted to kind of do like a after show for this one here. So stay on. But thank you again, Tanya. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
And we appreciate it. So we're gonna give you the screen, and we'll chat soon.
Sure. Thanks again. It was nice to see you both. As for my closing statements, I'll keep it nice and short. Again, if anybody has any questions or any, you know, immediate projects you want to get started on, please feel free to call me, text me. I work 24/7, 365. Real estate really is my life. It's my focus. I've won several awards. I'm not just, this isn't a hobby of mine. So when you do choose me as your realtor, I will rise to the occasion, and I will go toe to toe with any of my competitors. So I can close with that. My number is 306-380-7325. Please, serious inquiries only. And if you are on a variety of social media platforms, please search my name and follow my content. So, I mean, if you're not buying a house, that is another way to support Indigenous business. So that's my time. I'm going to head out. And again, thanks everybody for watching, and feel free to contact me if you need. Bye-bye.
Awesome, Tanya. Thank you. She's in the background there. Tanya, we'll talk with you soon. But everyone else, that was an awesome podcast. What'd you think? What do you think?
That
And
was
I whoever's on my friend list, you guys obviously know Haley. We did that Four Sides podcast, and my thing is bringing and trying to start as many Indigenous podcasts as we can. Like just like Tanya was saying, like there's not many Indigenous realtors out there. I don't think there's enough Indigenous podcasters out there, so I'm just really pushing it to try to get as many as we can to have a perspective on all different things. So, what did you think of your first real? I guess not real one because you already did one, but I mean, interviewing someone.
It felt like I felt comfortable. Like I felt way comfortable than me like doing, like it didn't feel like, oh, I have to talk now. You know what I mean? Like it felt like it was going with the flow. And even this though, like me being 17, learning about real estate, like it was like actually really cool to learn about, because some people don't learn about this stuff until they need to, or when they're interested in buying a house. Like, to know that now and to learn that at a young age, like I think that's important. And listening to her, like a lot of it, I was like, what does that mean? But like as she kept going, I was like, okay, like I'm getting this. But I think it was like good. Like I wasn't nervous or shy to talk. It kind of just stuck in, and I had some questions here and there, and it was nice.
You want to do another one?
Do I want to do another one?
Yeah. What do you
think? Are we still live?
Yeah, we're still live. We're still live. We're still live. Everyone out there.
Well, maybe if the audience liked me, then yeah, I'll come. I'll come more often.
I think because I'm gonna be doing my podcast every Monday when I'm gonna officially just start doing them, because I know I usually just kind of went wherever, whatever. But now they're going to be every Monday, and I enjoyed having it. It's nice to have a co-host. Usually it's just me, and I shoot the shit with everyone else. But I mean, it's nice to have another, like I said, just like our Four Sides podcast. It's nice to have a perspective, and maybe because I know I'd ask Raymond, but he does his own thing. But I mean, maybe Rachel and you guys can come on here under IOPPS and do a podcast with whoever, with my audience, whatever, right?
Oh, that would be cool.
Kate Morris, thanks for sharing your knowledge, Tanya. And thanks, Nathan, for providing this others to learn. Yes, take care all. Yes.
Take care all.
Great podcast. Yeah, it was fun, you guys. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it all. Once again, check out IOPPS.ca, sharing Indigenous success. I want to thank Haley here for coming on tonight, and maybe we'll see her in the future on more IOPPS podcasts, or maybe we'll see her on her own podcast, hosting her own show.
Maybe.
But with that, you guys, this is Nathan from IOPPS. And Haley, go ahead. You wanted to say something, and you took that deep breath.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say every time I smile, something's wrong with my ears, so the headphones fall out. So when I smile, my ears like pull my headphones. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you learned something from tonight's podcast. And thank you, Nathan, for having me here today to co-host with you. It was an awesome time. I'll literally do it again at any point in time if you want me to come on. I'll literally share what I got and
we'll bring you know what? We got more people to interview. There's always somebody to interview. Everyone has a story. With that, you guys, I'm out of here. Haley, peace. Thank you. But Haley, stay on.
Love. Thank you.